Right, welcome to part 2 of this 1983 Burny Les Paul Custom. I am just going to move the camera and we can crack on. We're getting some frets removed. Right, I thought I'd show some fret removal while I'm here. I removed 3, we've got a little chip there, nothing to worry about, and a tiny one there. That chip happened after I'd pulled the fret. I caught it with my hand sliding across and it just ripped up, so that's not a problem, we can sort that out. These frets are in really well, they're glued in. When they're in this well, I'm going to use a couple of tricks to get them out. I've got my fret pulling plier, which is ground flat at this end, so they get right in and under. I have an adapted soldering iron with an adapted tip there. As you can see, it's bent and it's got a groove in it. Soldering iron's been on quite a while. And what we're going to do is we're going to melt the glue. So it's just a matter of being a little bit patient. We'll just get some heat on the fret, it'll help it move more easily. Once it starts sweating, get a little bit of steam coming out, we know we've got it hot enough. Sometimes you get that puff, little puff of smoke there, you see. We don't want to burn the binding, we'll try and avoid that. A little bit of heat in there, we get a little bit of sweat each side of the fret now. So we know we've got some heat in there, and then it's just a matter of, I'm going to be using chip stopper, Stumac tool I bought last year. You get them in a pair. I think it cost me 20 quid with shipping, which is not expensive. It was 10 quid for a bit. Then I went and found out I could have gone for about 5 quid from Portugal. But you know, I needed them, so I got them. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove the fret this side. We're going to try and get underneath. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult. It's bending up there. There you go. We've got it started. Now we've got it started, we'll get the fret chip stopper in there. I'm using the thick one at the moment because the thin one's not. It's a bit too weedy. We're just going to make sure we get some heat in there again. It's just a matter of, I don't know what you can see there, but we've got that one out. That is not too messy. We've got a small chip there, tiny one, really easy to fill. Might even get it done on the radius in. And I'm now going to take a Stanley blade and we're going to remove this little bit of binding, or the nib. We're not high nibs on this. Once we remove that, we'll take a little piece of sandpaper. This is some 400 grit sandpaper, and we'll just smooth off. I know some people are going to think it's a sacrilege removing the nibs, but the owner said, don't worry about the nibs, just remove them. So that's what I am doing. So there you go. That's the fret removed. I'll do one more. I'll try and show you a little bit more. So that's 4 done, 18 to go. Just take your time with these. You're not ripping chunks out of a fingerboard, which does happen. This is rosewood. It may come out easier in rosewood. Ebony's a bitch. You always get a lot of chipping on ebony. This is a rosewood board, so it's not going to be too bad. You can see there's quite a few divots on this fingerboard. I think if I just re-radius this fingerboard, I'm going to run a radius block on there with some 240 grit, just smooth it off. Most of these will disappear, but I'm not going to worry about these divots at all. See what can happen there when you slip with the soldering iron. It doesn't cause any damage. I'm going to sand over that anyway. But yeah, divots like this, we're not going to worry about any of that. They're not deep. There are ways to fill them in, but it doesn't need filling in on this fingerboard. So this guitar, I don't know anything about the model number. Could be I'm not sure what it is. I had a look at some information last night. The owner doesn't know, he says, but it is a pre-1985 because it has the old lawsuit decal or inlay on the headstock there. We stopped using that after 83, I believe. Oh, this one's a bit stubborn, look, it doesn't want to move. And this can happen, look, it's chewed up the end. If that happens, we'll just go a bit further down, we get a good grip, and we get in like so. What have I done with that now? Yeah, that one, see that's all chewed up there now. Some can be really stubborn, you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know what you can get away with. I expect them to be more stubborn at this end, they normally are. That's when we normally get chips up that end. You know, try to keep it to a minimum. no, something I didn't show you, there you go. That's something I didn't show you. Once I have, so there's a couple of chips here, once I like to take a standard blade, I think you call them an X-Acto knife in the States, and just go through the slot, just make sure the slot's clear. We're going to use a saw, a special saw in these slots later anyway. I'll show you that later on. Those slots are nice and deep, they're right up to the edges, that's fantastic. Again, that did burn the bind in there. So I mean about burning these edges of the binding, not just scraping that. Fret's going to cover that anyway, so nothing to worry about. Fantastic, so I'm going to crack on, get all the others removed, and we'll set about repairing these small chipped areas. And here we are, fret friends, with the frets removed. And I've just given a spray of naphtha, well, in this case Zippo lighter fluid, just to dry up the board a little bit, just to enhance and show the chips. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, we always seem to get a lot of chipping down this end, down here. And we've got a fair bit, but it's nothing that we can't fix, so I'm not worried or daunted by any of that. And how we fix those areas is we will take some PTFE. I buy this in a big sheet. It's not cheap, but it's so worth it. It's PTFE, it's half a millimetre thick, and what we'll do is we'll cut a piece and we'll insert it in the fret slot. Like so, that will fill the fret slot, and then what we'll do is we'll take some rosewood dust, drop it in these areas, we'll level it off, and we'll go in with some thin, the thinnest we can get, super glue, and we'll drop that in. It'll just fill that slot, and we'll be slightly proud. And what we'll do is once it's dry, it's very quick drying, once it's dry we'll nip across with a file, we'll level it all off, and then we'll remove the PTFE and it'll leave the slot clean. And all we need to do then is go in with our slotting blade when I find it, and we'll just make sure we've got if we've got any glue in there, we'll saw it out. And this is my Hosco fretting saw or fret slot saw for working inside binding, and we'll just clean it up inside there. And there you go. You see how that works? It cuts in two directions, one on the push, one on the pull. That'll be on the pull, and this will cut on the push, like so. And there you go. So that's how we will do that. Now, the problem with this neck at the moment is I have the truss rod loose. Please note I can move that with my finger, almost. We have the truss rod loose right there, I will make sure. But the thing is, we still have relief in the fingerboard. Just twist it, turn that off. It should be here. It's off. It's loose. But we still have relief, and I've measured the relief to be 0.4 millimeters. Let's just have a look. Feeler gauge. And N-net is short, so we don't want any relief. I want a completely straight neck, and that is just causing resistance. So 7th fret. 0.4 millimeters there. I want that gone. Now normally what we could do is we could put new frets. We could use a slightly wider tang. This is a 0.5 mil tang. If we went with a 0.54 or a 0.6 millimeter tang, what it is, that will bend the neck back into straightness. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp the neck up. We'll have each end clamped. We've got a steel strip here. It's an inch wide, and what we'll do is we'll put a block underneath, and once we clamp this and get it perfectly straight, but with both ends clamped, we'll put on a clothes iron. We'll drop a clothes iron on there, and we'll just get some heat in there, and we'll just coax it back into straightness. And once that's done, we can go across with a leveling beam. I imagine the radius is about 12 inches. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. Have I got a 12-inch block here? Right, I've got a 10. We'll go with a 10 for now. And a radius beam. You know how this works. Your radius is there in sandpaper, and what we'll do is we shall smooth the board. Still that top. I can't do that while there is a curve in the neck. Right, it is flatter than a 10. So I would say that that should be a 12. Now I've got a 12 here. It has got some 80 grit paper on there, which is a little bit coarse for what we want. I'll check the radius. Yeah, it's looking to be round about a 12. I will check that again later. That's looking about bang on. So once we get some straightness in there, we can then sand the neck and we'll re-radius it. We're not going to remove any great material, probably 1/5 of a millimetre, just to smooth it all off. You'll find we might lose some of these little chips areas there. And that is what we will do. Now, like I say, I can't clamp this at the moment because I've got a Gibson being clamped. Oddly, the opposite is happening there. That neck is absolutely straight and I need to get some relief in there with the truss rod loose. So I've got that bent the other way, the opposite way. This is going to have a complete opposite. I've got to put some back bow in there just to try and get it straight. Once it's straight, then we can sand it off and we can start getting a new fret stitch. So that is likely to be happening on Monday because it's Saturday today. It's just gone midday. I've had a couple of hours on this. It's going to take me a couple of hours to fill these chipped areas in. And then I will move on to something else. Something else I've realised as well, I've not ordered a nut for this. So I must go, I'll measure up and I'll go and order a new Graphtec nut for this area. And that way we can get it in about Wednesday. It means we might get this guitar done this week. If it's not done this week, it's no great shakes. If I'd ordered a nut, it would have been done this week. But like I say, I forgot to order that. So I shall go and do that now. So I'm going to crack on. You can come back and check. Well, I'll obviously be back later with another update, so come back and check that. So let's get cracking with filling some of these chips, and I'm just going to show you me filling this pair here because they're quite good chips. I'm going to take a piece of PTFE, insert it into the fret slot, bring it over. You see here I have a big bag of rosewood there. I will take a flat bladed screwdriver. I will have a file to hand somewhere. There we go. My number 3 cut file. It's not the finest file, but it's perfect for this. Just will clean the blade on the screwdriver because I had some glue on it this morning. And what we're going to do is we're going to let the glue do the work. CA glue. I'm going to take an amount of, too much there, don't need all that much. Take an amount of rosewood dust, plenty there. For this purpose I'm going to zoom in. There's a super glue I'm using, Blue Spot, really thin stuff. It's a couple of quid, it's about £3 delivered for 2 small bottles. I always have these little adapters on the end there, gives you a nice stream. It's that thin, it really does spill out, so you have to be very careful. For the purpose of this little part of the video, I'm going to zoom in. I'm hoping the light's good for you there, and there you go. I don't really want to get any closer than that because we'll start to lose focus. And I'm going to take some of the dust and we're going to put it over it. I'm going to do both at the same time. I'm going to put in more than I need because it will sink in. I'll get some more ready to push in once it's done. So, you will get a reaction off this. We're going to go in, we're going to get a stream pretty close, and we're just going to put a couple of drops. There you go. That's all you need to do, and then you take some more. And that basically is that. You see there? We have filled in, that's it, that's all you need to do. That is those 2 filled in. I will take my number 3 file. Now we're going to score it this way with the file. Don't worry about that because we're going to sand the radius back into the fretboard later anyway. Don't need to go mental. And there you go. Get the PTFE. We are just going to take a blade. Yeah, we're still proud, so That's just checking that we're not right down yet. That's good. There you go, that's pretty good there. And we are going to remove the PTFE. PTFE doesn't stick. It might stick a tiny bit, but it's not glued. That is it. That is that fret slot done. We'll take the file again and we'll file it the correct way. And I think you will agree that that is those chips well and truly repaired. We'll come in at a slight angle with the blade just to open that up again. And there you go. What do you think to that? We had 2 good chips there. They are now finished. They're complete. We will take something like, I don't have any steel wool at the moment. We can just take a bit of sandpaper. Smooth them off. Believe me, when I've re-radiused this fingerboard, you will not see where any of the chips have been fixed at all. A little bit of naphtha on there. Do I need to show you that again? I don't think I do. I think you get the idea. And then I will go in again with the fret saw, just widen that up. Even though I have to look again to find out which one it was. There you go. Any glue spillage that's got in there, we've now got rid of. Once this is all sanded flat again, and we've got the fingerboard all oiled up, you are not going to notice any. Look at that. It's perfect. It's smooth as anything. I'm going to move on this way now. You know what? While we're here, I've got a good one right there. I'm going to do one more just to show how easy this is. I learned to do this, by the way, on divots on my Kramer. You know where these divots are? Well, you can't see them where you are, but there's divots in the fingerboard. Now start filling divots in. All we do is you get some rosewood dust. Same thing again, drop some super glue in there and just then file it smooth. So I'm going to show you one more while I'm here. It never hurts to be shown things twice, does it? Rosewood dust. You haven't even got to be that tidy. There you go. That's nice. Again, a little bit OTT, a bit more than you need. There you go. A lot more than we need in that case there. Again, take file. How's that? How does that look? I don't even know where we repaired it. It's somewhere here. Is it there? So there you go, 3 chips we've just repaired in a couple of minutes. There you go, 2 chips there, 1 chip there, repaired. Can I get any closer than that? Show you how good they are. 2 there, 1 there. There you go. That one's gone, these 2 have gone. I'm going to crack on, get the rest done. It's a tiny one there, I could possibly leave that. I think the fret's going to go over that anyway. So I'm going to crack on, get the rest of it. We'll probably have to focus there. Let's see how close we can get. It's about as close as we can get. We've just filled 1 there and 2 there. Absolutely brilliant, super smooth. So I'm going to crack on, get the rest done. I'll come back and show you once that's completed. Not the best camera angle ever, but you will now see that I have filled in all the chipped areas on the fingerboard. It's taken me a few hours. We are at, it's gone 3 o'clock in the afternoon because football's kicked off. So I've been in here since 8 o'clock this morning. So I've probably spent, out of that 7 hours, I've probably spent 5 hours on this. 4.5, 5 hours on this guitar with the hour and a half I spent yesterday. Let's say we're up to 6 hours. I'm going to do something I've not done before, and I'm going to basically do a rough estimate. I'm going to more or less time how long it takes me to do this from scratch. Now you might see, don't know if you see me there, I've marked some areas with a marker pen, in black marker pen, and this is where there are big divots in my fingerboard. There's one there, here, there's one here, one here, one there, one there. I am going to fill these areas. Same method, using rosewood dust and super glue. Once that's done, I'll just smooth it all off. And we might as well do it while I'm at this stage, you know, so I'm going to crack on with that. I'm not going to charge any extra. Just going to get it on. Might as well do it while I'm at this stage anyway. So at least we're going to have an even fingerboard. Like I said, once that's done, we will look at getting this on the jig, get it clamped up, and we'll get some heat in there. And we'll get this neck straight with the truss rod loose. Once it is straight with the truss rod loose, we can go across where radius beam and can radius this whole guitar, get that radius right along the whole length of the neck. So I will come back to you once we are ready to get this all clamped up for straightening. I can't really say any more than that at this stage. I'm going to fill these in, and that's all I can do on this for today. I'm going to go online, order a nut. Fret slots are all beautiful. They might look a little bit narrow there, don't worry about that, they're not narrow at all. It's because I've glued right up to the edge. Underneath will still be the same width, half a millimetre. So don't worry if it's because the pressing the fret in will just open this up again anyway. Going to be a lovely, neat job. It's going well. And I'd like to, like I say, I'm not timing it as in timing it, it's just I'd like to get a rough idea of how long the whole process will take, because I've never really timed it. I normally say around about 16 hours, but I bet I'll be surprised and find out it's going to be nearer 24, 25 hours, I think, from start to finish. So considering this costs you, a job like this costs you about 200 quid, probably a bit more, but the fret job itself, 200 quid, with the fret wire, including the fret wire, you're not getting a bad deal at all. So, back soon. Right, and here we are. And this guitar has had, well, I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon now, so I've probably had 6 hours on this guitar today. I've done something I said I wasn't going to do, and I've filled in the areas where we had big, what do you call it, big grooves in there, just where, big troughs, and there's a couple here, where are they? They're all marked anyway, you'll see them. Yeah, there were a big one there, there are a couple there, there's a couple here. So frets 2, 4 and 6. Filled all them in. Fingerboard is now more or less ready. That's ready to be refretted, apart from the neck is not straight. There is a bit of relief in there. Blah, 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 blah. And if I was using a wider tang fret wire, we could straighten the neck out using that. But we're not using a wide tang, we're using a normal tang, which is 0.5 millimetre. It's the thinnest you can get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steam this neck, get some heat in there, and we're going to straighten it. So there you go. It is all ready. I've done quite a lot of video on this part, so I'm going to wrap up part 2 right here. It's as good a place as any. The guitar is ready for the refret, like I say, barring we just need to straighten the neck, so we'll do that at the beginning of part 3. So come back for part 3. You want to check me out on Facebook? I'm facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. That's facebook.com/NG17. You can check my website at fretfriend.co.uk. This is Victor Christian signing off. End of part 2 with this 1983 custom Les Paul by Burny, made in Japan. Beautiful guitar. Needs a lot of work, but we're going to get it right. Counting at the moment, we're counting roughly 7 hours so far, and that's been a little bit conservative. We could have done probably gone up to 8 hours in reality, but we'll count it as 7. Anyway, see you in part 3.